Hello and welcome to Luigi's Gaming Lounge. This is episode 15 and today, people, we have a full house. So, to start off with, we have got Outtime Ecto 1, aka...
Cheerleading, hello.
Excuse me.
Oh, can I not be cheerleading this evening?
No cheerleading.
Euros, aren't we? Fine, Andy, good evening.
And we also have Trip Hazard, aka...
Barnaby, hello.
We have Terrors, also known as...
Sam, hello.
And we have Commando Para, and we all know who this guy is. His name is...
Yo, it's Tony. Yo, what up?
T-Dog, T-Dog.
Straight out of Compton.
So, we better get this out of the way, since I'm the only Italian in the group here. But as we all know, we took it back to Rome. We took it back to Rome. So, well done and congratulations to the... congratulations to the Italian team. That's a big achievement.
Yeah, well
big achievement.
Yeah. Well.
Anyway, moving on.
We have to. No. We also have to congratulate England because they did do extremely well.
To be fair, it's been 55 years that they haven't reached the final, so that is quite the achievement. Fantastic team.
And also to highlight the racism. We won't tolerate that on this podcast. So yeah, we don't condone it.
Kick them out of here. The racists, obviously.
Yeah, no need for it. Disgusting.
So, anyway, on that note, with the Euros over and done with, we felt it was only right to do an episode around sports games and the like. So that can be, that's anything from the likes of FIFA to Mario Kart, anything like that. Off the bat, straight away here, I am just going to give a mention to Mario Strikers on GameCube, because that game was and is still amazing, and I would love for them to bring out a new one, because I would definitely purchase.
That was a very good game.
It was, wasn't it? Did anybody else play that?
No, never played that.
Ah.
I feel like it was. I think for the people who know it and who played it, they all rate it, but it wasn't marketed enough for unless you were quite a hardcore Nintendo fan, or you just kind of luckily picked it up or whatever. Your mum and dad got it for you when you were younger or whatever. Then I think it kind of went under the radar a bit. But if you play it, it was really good.
Yeah, it
really
was
good fun.
Yeah, exactly that. Just like Nintendo are good at it. It was just literally pure fun to play. So yeah, I mean that for me, like I said, straight off the bat, that is my game of choice when it comes to a bit of sort of weird and wacky sports games. Andy, you did mention prior to recording the podcast that you do love your sports games. We'll get it kicked off with you and see what you got to say. So if you want to take it away.
I have lots to say, so I won't take up too much airtime. But I'm going to go first obviously on the back of the Euros that we just touched on. We'll start with football games. They're very much like Marmite. You either love a good football game or you hate it. If you hate it, you probably never played one in your life and you have no desire to.
Mm-hmm.
The obvious one that, is the elephant in the room is FIFA.
Yeah. FIFA
has a lot of bad press, and rightly so. Nowadays it is very much rinse and repeat. There's not very much ingenuity with it. But I remember, I think it was on the N64 I had it. There was FIFA 98 Road to the World Cup. And
oh, yeah.
I had so much good fun, 4-player, in the same room, none of this online stuff. 4-player, multiplayer FIFA. And from memory, you had Blur Song 2 as the intro to the game. It was the first real step up in the quality of the FIFA games. Des Lynam started doing the voice, the commentary. And it was the first time you got that real sense of immersion from a football sim game. There have been some good ones up until that point, but that was obviously you look at it now and it's not going to suck the world like, but at the time it was like, I feel like I'm really in the game. So that's my first mention football wise. The other one is the original Sensible Soccer. Now, completely the opposite to your FIFA games, very top down, very 2D, not graphics driven. but the pure gameplay that Sensible Soccer had was a million light years ahead of anything else at the time.
Yeah.
So I think Sensible Soccer deserves a mention. And this by no means is a good game. It is in fact a shit game, but it has a special place in my heart from my youth. It's World Cup Italia '90 on the Mega Drive. Part of them, I think it was Mega Games 1 as well. It was a shocking football game, but I do believe I spent many of an hours of my life wasted on that.
Yeah,
So
I played that.
They're my 5 cents into the football games. Like I say, I have got loads of other games to mention, but I'll see if anyone's got other things to say regarding the football games.
Yeah.
Genre?
Yeah. International Superstar Soccer. I don't know if anyone ever played that.
Yeah.
That was, I feel like, when it was like, I don't even know if they make them anymore, do they?
I don't
I don't think they've made one for years.
They were very close to the line, considering they abbreviate as ISS. That's very close to ISIS nowadays.
Yeah, true.
I don't think they'll roll out another ISS.
But they were. I actually preferred them in a lot of ways to some of the more like the official FIFA ones. I felt like they were a little bit more arcadey style in a way. Like had loads of good fun on ISS games. But
it might be ISS that later became Pro Evo. One of the games, sort of, it might have been Sensible Soccer, might have been ISS, but one of those sort of titles of games eventually sort of merged itself into Pro Evo, I think. I'm not sure which one.
Yeah.
Look, Tony, have you got something you wanting to get out?
Yeah. I'm with the FIFA games. Yeah, it is rinse and repeat. The only thing that they do different is enhance the graphics a little bit, update the kits, and the transfers when they've happened with players. But I think the last thing was FIFA Street for me. I really enjoyed FIFA Street. I thought it was brilliant when you have Ronaldinho. You go through the stages of playing indoors, outside, really to the streets, and that's what you see. You see that a lot, especially if you look at like Manchester or London. You see these outdoor sort of street performers. They may not be good on the football pitch, but in terms of skill and the ability to control the ball, I think it's brilliant, and it really gives you that appreciation of those players like Ronaldinho, who can just sort of manipulate sort of the ball and, in any direction. And then the other one for me, I remember the game, I believe it was 2006, the World Cup game. It's when we had like Lampard, Gerrard and that. And I remember it wasn't the game itself. It was actually the loading periods of the game when you're going through the next stages. And it used to have, did you know the American national anthem was written by a British man. I think it was like Ben Smith. Don't quote me on that. But it was those little facts. You kind of go, I didn't know that. It was quite good. You get like little hints and tips on games these days. For like games like Wreckfest or something like that. If you hit a car at a certain angle or speed, you can impact a bit more damage. But this loading screen, I really enjoyed I love knowledge, random knowledge. You see me watching a film. Jenny will tell my partner will tell you when we're watching a film, I'll be googling the actors or actresses or where it's being performed, looking at locations, and then going random facts like, did you know he's married to her and they're 76?
So you end up missing half the film then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't engage with the film, but anyway, for FIFA for me,
I hate you in a cinema.
But I think you look at FIFA, it is rinse and repeat. It's a bit boring. I think what they should do, and going back onto one of the earlier episodes, I think it was episode 1, they should have a simulator where you can become part of the mascot team, or you should be the manager walking up and down.
On his simulator stream. Right, I'm stopping Tony there. Right, Barney, save us quick. What you got for us?
So for me, I only really dabble in sport games. I don't really play them intently at all. So I'm very casual when it comes to sports games. And I'm not that much of a sporting fan, even at the best of times. But I would say for sports, probably the first games that come to mind for me are the Wii Sports series, Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort.
Yeah.
Brilliant
That was a
game.
They were really
Yeah.
good fun.
Clever.
Yeah, it's just a nice casual mix of games that anyone can pick up and play. And for a non-sporting person like me, it's pretty ideal. So yeah, I had many
Tennis
an
and the
hour of good
bowling on
fun.
Wii Sports were beautiful back in the day.
Yeah, they
It's
were.
all about
The
that
bowling.
flick, wasn't it? It was all about that flick with the bowling. Like, if you
Exactly.
flick
It's
it,
all in the wrist.
And
Boom.
the
It's all the
boxing
rest.
was brilliant. I honestly thought the boxing was
Yeah, with the
brilliant.
nunchuck as well.
Yeah, that was my little brother when he was he weren't very old, he must have been about 8 or 9, and he literally just played that bowling game like repeatedly. And I remember him saying, "Oh, Sam, do you want to have a game on this?" I was like, "Oh, okay." He literally, and this is no word of a lie, he got a strike on every single one, but the maximum possible score you can get. He striked everything, and I was like, "How have you done that?" And he was just like, I think he just played it so much, he just knew exactly where it needed to be, like almost pixel perfect every time. And I was just like, this is ridiculous.
Going back to Barnaby's comment, it's all in the wrist. He's probably had a lot of time in the bedroom on his own.
Building up those wrist muscles.
That's it.
You show
Exactly.
me the size of Barney's
Crucial.
right wrist. The left is limp. The right is like Barney's.
It's like a piece of iron, isn't it, on the right?
Going back
Sorry. You mentioned boxing, Luigi, didn't you?
Yeah, I was just going to say, going back to boxing, because obviously the boxing on the Wii I thought was brilliant. Also, as well,
Fight night, yeah.
I don't know. Fight night, but before we mentioned Fight Night, there was another boxing game on the Wii, and it didn't actually get that great score, but I really enjoyed it, and it was Don King Boxing. What I liked about that, it implemented the use of the Wii Fit board.
The balance board.
Yeah, so that obviously when you lean left, your character
that is one of the
sways
key
to the left.
features of. That's one of the key features of boxing, isn't it? It's not about just how you throw punches. It's also about the footwork.
Yeah,
so that's quite authentic in the way that it utilises that. Then
yeah.
You got to duck, dodge, dive, and dodge.
Got to float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Tony, you're either bunged up or you've just ran a marathon, because you sound a bit stuffy. Are you okay there?
Yeah, sorry, mate. I'm just doing the hay fever for one, but I'm just doing the housework. I'm multitasking. I'm a perfect house husband.
Oh, good. All right. Anyway, so yeah, like I say, that Don King Boxing, I had a lot of fun with it. Like I said, implementing the Wii Fit board, I thought it was a great bit of fun, to be honest. Whilst we're on the discussion of boxing, though, we have got to talk about Fight Night.
Specifically, Fight Night Round 3.
Yes.
Round 3 was the best.
Well,
because that was so good.
Hang on, right. Fight Night Round 3, and I believe I have mentioned this in previous episodes, that Fight Night Round 3 was my first online gaming experience on the original Xbox. And it was...
I thought it was on the 360.
No, it came out first on the original Xbox. And
What,
then,
round
Yeah,
3?
I had it on 360 round 3.
I promise
I had
you,
it
you
on-
have a look. Have a look. It came out on original Xbox. I'm telling you now.
Nah.
Yeah, you see. Have
Maybe
a
it
look.
did. I don't know. Let's have a look.
I think your
second.
viewers should get back to you in the comment box and leave their reviews.
Yeah, see, look, Fight Night Round 3, original Xbox. But, yeah.
Wow.
As I was saying, that was my first online experience. Absolutely loved it. Skipped number 4, Fight Night Round 4. I don't think it quite hit the mark like number 3 did. However, when they announced Fight Night Champion, or Champions, whichever one it is, I read up on it, and that's when they first sort of, in the EA game, introduced like a legacy mode, where there's like a story mode. And I liked the sound of that, so I actually pre-ordered that. And I believe that was the first game I actually ever did pre-order. So anyway, still to this day, I play Fight Night Champion. And like I say, the legacy mode where you have the background story and everything of how you got into the professional boxing, and it just added another depth to the game. And obviously that online play like you had on Fight Night Round 3, for me, Fight Night Champion did it 10 times better, and you could just play it all night long. I don't know if anyone else wants to weigh in on the Fight Night conversation. Oh, actually, one last thing I'll say. They need to bore off with these UFC games and bring back another Fight Night. Because
with you on that.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the UFC games have been good in the past, but we are overdue a Fight Night game.
We are overdue a Fight Night game, because I still think Fight Night was better than the UFC games anyway.
Yeah.
Just like...
Yeah, I'm going to chip in there. The UFC games, like, I'm a big MMA fan. The UFC games are all right, but there's one mixed martial art game that surpasses any of the UFC games, and it's called EA Sports MMA. And I had it on the 360, and basically it came out because there was a legend in MMA called Baz Rutten. He was under contract with the UFC at the time, and I think he was due for renewal or something. And they wanted to use his likeness in the first UFC game. And he was like, no, I don't agree with it, blah, 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 you don't know me, etc. And he decided to cut his losses and actually leave the UFC contract. And I think EA took him on, saying, look, can we use your likeness in this game that we're going to compete with UFC? But if you like that sort of game, but don't like the UFC, get EA Sports MMA, and it's much more... you probably like it. It's a bit more simulation in the sense that you start with the grassroots, you work your way up. It's not about the names, and it's what I suppose Pro Evo is to what FIFA is. FIFA, you buy it for the names, the likenesses, you can recognise everything. Whereas the EA Sports MMA, you have to be a real hardcore MMA fan to recognise the few names that are thrown in there. But in terms of a gameplay point of view, it's a really good game.
Yeah, what I'd love to see with the boxing games now, is just trying to go back to basics, back to training, but also introducing some of the old ones. Like one of my favourite boxers of all time was Carlos Monzon. His reach, tower, slim, slender man. You think he'd be sort of a centre back for basketball, but something like that, or Sugar Ray, or the likes of I don't know, you got Tyson, you got that, and it'd be good to see a mix of sort of contenders, past contenders, and current, and just going toe to toe in their boxing style. But again, have they got the time to sort of study their profile, their stance, their fighting techniques to put them into a game? I don't know, but that'd be pretty cool concept to add into a game where you could have classic fighters like Lennox Lewis as well, back in the day, and just throw him in there. But Carlos Monzon, I've always been a fan of him. I've always watched videos on YouTube of him fighting back in the days, and brilliant fighter, just plenty of them, like Sugar Ray, like I said. So I'd like to see that. But yeah, for me, UFC, it's entertainment, but it's another market. Of course they're going to make games. Of course it's another bit of merchandise, and it's going to just bring in income, revenue. But I am bored of these sort of UFCs now. Just the same thing, and it's boring. It's absolutely boring.
Speaking of overdue games, Dave Mirra, Matt Hoffman BMXing those games back in the day.
Yes.
I feel like they're well overdue. Now, I can understand what you were saying with the UFC thing. I mean, they're bringing out games that are mainly current to where we're at, But Fight Night, boxing, is still huge. Everyone's still talking about it. Like, they should definitely fill in with the game of that. But as far as the, like I said, with the BMXing games, we're seeing like new skateboarding games still come out, which is cool. But I thought the BMXing games were awesome.
Yeah. Well, I have actually looked. There is a game, but it's only listed at the moment as coming out for PC, and it is literally called BMX the Game, and it says a sports game simulate in BMX. In BMX the Game, we get Barcelona and a number of existing bike parks where we can go crazy. In addition, the game contains complex editors. So,
that could be quite good then.
Yeah, so it seems like there's one in the works. And, well, it actually has a release date. At the moment, it's saying November 21. So it is actually this year.
So
but
I like the fact they feel the need to give a description on a game that's called BMX the Game.
I know. Yeah, a sports game
Just in case you
simulating
mistake it for a real BMX.
Yeah. Well, I have just seen also, which has got my blood pumping, that it looks like we are getting another Skate game, Skate 4.
Oh.
Now, Skate 3, again, that is a game I still play today. Even my kids play Skate 3. I had 1, 2, and 3, obviously. And they improved with each one. I remember the first Skate, it was just so different from playing something like Tony Hawk's. Obviously, don't get me wrong, Tony Hawk's brilliant game, but it is a very arcadey game, and that's where Skate.
I was camp Tony Hawk's. I never played Skate.
Yeah, well,
I've spoken to you about it. You can do a lot more with the analog sticks. I
tried playing it, but I think because of the arcadey sort of style, and I was so used to playing Tony Hawk's, I remember just trying to play it and thinking,
no,
I just didn't.
That's where you've gone. That's where you've gone wrong. Arcadey style, the arcadey style was Tony Hawk's, not Skate.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was so used to playing that kind of like unrealistic but kind of like cool, and I was so used to controls, so they didn't really change on the Tony Hawk's games. So then you go and try and do Skate, and it is a completely different like style of game when it comes to, obviously it's a skateboarding game, but it was different. But I have heard that if you get used to it and you put the time in, a lot of people have said that it's equally as good, if not better, in some cases.
Yes,
it's funny you talk about the Skate game, because my choice of games that I was going to say, going back to the past, that I thoroughly enjoyed as a child was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Love that game. It's 1 and 2. Where you're grinding on top of a bloody Apache, and then you're in like a school park or an area of like a recreation area. It's brilliant. Again, I think that showed test of time, and I think today, if you were able to get a remastered version and play that,
well, they have brought it out, haven't they? Remastered.
Yeah, they've got one.
Remastered. I think they've remastered them about 2 or 3 times now.
yeah, and again, they set the trend. They're brilliant. They took the trend. You had Tony Hawk's there, a real visionary icon, back in the 90s especially. But yeah, brilliant game.
They only recently remastered it, didn't they? Pro Skater 1 and 2. It was like last year or something.
Yeah, that was like a remaster of a remaster. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because I purchased the remaster on PS3.
Okay.
So it has been. I know it has been done prior to this current one. That's.
Anyway, back to Skate, because I know we kind of digressed a bit with Tony Hawk's there.
Yeah. So, like I said, I've had all of the skate games. The first one, as I said, when I started with that. Again, I was coming from Tony Hawk, so it was totally flipping alien to me. But the thing that I loved was that you had to have finesse with this, and you had full control over what you was doing with the board. So, for example, like with Tony Hawk's, it is a bit out there and like wild, the things that you can do, whereas this was very grounded. Like you was at just a plain.
Was it a bit more realistic?
Yes, basically that's what I liked about it. And like you could set like a marker, so you start your runs like in a certain area, and then say like you've lined something up, so there's like a bench. This, that, the other, and if you mess it up, which you will do, because like I said, the controls aren't like Tony Hawk's, it's more complex, you can sort of reset yourself back to where the marker is and try again. But once you nail it, it's a real sense of achievement, if you know what I mean. And I think that's what gives you that realistic feeling, because it would be the same thing in real life. Like, you've seen it before with skateboarders, where they go back and they keep trying. And then when they finally nail that, what they're trying to do, it feels, it is a sense of achievement. and that definitely comes across in the skate games. Like I said,
Yeah.
the first skate, you had to be on the skateboard constantly. You couldn't come on, like, you couldn't walk around or anything like that. And I believe they introduced that in number 2, and then you could start like moving stuff around, like the big sort of what are they called, like the outside bins, like that businesses have and whatnot.
Dumpsters.
Yeah, dumpsters and stuff like that. You could move
Yeah,
them
that's
about to create like your own area. And then number 3 just took it to a whole new level. And one memory, like I say, about an achievement, in the university area on Skate 3, there's a bit that's quite high up, and if you like look over, there's at the bottom there's stairs, and obviously there's a railing, but it's a massive drop, like over 20 foot. So I sort of, and this is the thing, you can skate around and just try anything you want, and I set a marker near there, did a massive sort of run up, throw the skateboard down, and then you have to jump over like the ledge, like, and obviously it's just literally a brick wall, but my thing was trying to jump over and land on the railing on the stairs.
Grind.
But where, like I say, the height that you have to drop and try and get it, it wasn't easy. And then once I did get it, it was like, don't know, it was like Italy winning the Euro.
It's these little things that you have to master to get that achievement.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
because
because it does require more finesse with what you're doing, and it's more realistic. Like, again, reiterating what I've just said, it is just a brilliant sense of achievement. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to Skate 4. I can see myself spending many hours on that, because like I said, it's still a game that I play today. So
will there be an online sort of co-op mode?
Yeah, there was. There was on number 3.
Yeah, but I'm on about this one. Will there be an online co-op mode where you can do sort of achievements together, or even just
possibly?
have a skate around?
I don't think there's that much information out at the moment. It hasn't even got a release date. It's to be announced, but
okay.
But yeah,
I'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, because like I said, the Skate 3 had multiplayer modes, and it was really cool. Like, and they used to have a thing called like own the spot, so you'd have to do a trick in a certain area, and you could, basically only within that area, and you could play it online. There's like 4 or 5 of you, and whoever basically did the sickest trick would win, basically. Little stuff like that. It was really good.
I'm sure I could still do an ollie to this day.
I'd like to see it. Back up your claim. Is anybody urging to get another sports game out?
Yeah. My
Right,
turn, please.
Go on.
For me, it was SmackDown. WWE SmackDown.
Oh yeah, wrestling.
1 and 2. Brilliant games. And again, it really took it off. I remember spending hours on that game, designing characters, playing against, and you had a bit more of a story sort of feel to it. So they would implement these stairs, and it's just taking it back to wrestling that I knew as a child as well, watching it on TV in the 90s. You had like, I used to love the Hardy, Matt and Jeff Hardy brothers jumping off these towering steps onto their opponents, and then doing these mad skills, a bit like Mysterio, where he jumps out of the ring, but then ring goes back in. Then you had like Triple H. I used to love The Undertaker. The story between him and Kane. He was Kane was like the shy brother. He was kind of a bit reserved with The Undertaker. And you got like Stone Cold Steve Austin, just a proper metal sort of biker bloke, and then you had Goldberg as well. Just to name but a few. And and I remember one of my favourite moves on a wrestler, it was just stupid because I used to laugh and wet myself as a kid, was Rikishi. Do you remember? He was
was it where he farted in the face or some? Yeah.
He said some farts in their face, and I used to love that as a kid.
Yeah.
And then you had like Big Show, and I remember him and The Undertaker going like together. And then was it Mike Foley? Yeah, Mike.
Cowley, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he
He
used to
used to
come
be
in.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan back in the day.
Yeah.
Or he
Mate,
had the new old ring again.
I just remember seeing it as like the box office on TV, but playing that game, brilliant. You know, you really resonate with that character because you've got your favorite wrestler. You're playing this game, and you're like, "Oh my god, this is next level." Because you're watching it on TV, them action, and then you're actually trying to sort of mimic their moves. Brilliant. I used to love that game. So yeah, for me, I love SmackDown. SmackDown 2, brilliant games. I don't know for anyone else, but I think that's where sort of game playing, wrestling, fighting games really took off for me. I thoroughly enjoyed the wrestling more, and
I had the same sort of feelings, but like a decade before you, obviously with the age difference. I grew up playing WWF WrestleMania on the arcades and that.
yeah,
And obviously it was nowhere as realistic as SmackDown was when it was released, but it gave me that same sort of nostalgia in the sense of you had the whole roster of wrestlers. There was a Royal Rumble mode where you could pick your 10p or 20p in the arcade, and as long as you stuck in that ring, you could go through like all 30 of the roster and win like the Royal Rumble. And to me, it was like the Legion of Doom and the Ultimate Warrior and the Hulk Hogan and the Big Boss Man and Jake the Snake Roberts, and it was like seeing like yourself seeing these people you watch and you sort of idolize on TV, and suddenly you're in control and being a kid like in the ring with them. And so I completely understand the feeling you were getting from SmackDown, but unfortunately that sort of passed me by that generation of wrestling game.
Yeah. I quite enjoyed quite a lot of the Formula One games over the years as well. Right, I remember my first Formula One game I got was going right back to the SNES, which was Nigel Mansell on the Super Nintendo, and I remember I used to play that with my granddad, and we played for hours and hours on that game. And obviously, when you're a kid, you just think that it's like, I remember looking back at it. It was probably a couple of years ago.
You were behind the wheel of the car, weren't you?
Yeah, literally, yeah. And it felt fast, right? And I thought, I'm gonna have a look at that. So I had a quick look at it. Obviously, the graphics are, it's the SNES. But I tell you what, the gameplay still looks like it would be, feel fast. So as a kid, it really was, you really did feel like you were like behind the wheel as such. But even going through to the Nintendo 64, I think it was called Formula One World Grand Prix on the N64. I remember playing that. Had loads of good fun on that as well.
98, wasn't it? That was around 98.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was around that
year. Yeah. I remember playing it now.
Yeah, that was really good. And I still think, even to this day, I think they're pretty good games. Like, they're quite solid games.
Yeah, well, I played when we first got the Game Pass. Look, one of the first games I downloaded was the 2020 Formula 1 2020, and I did the championship, and I played it again after I completed the championship.
Yeah,
with a lower rival team. I went McLaren first. I thought, right, you know what, I'm going to go for Alfa Romeo.
Excuse the dog.
But brilliant game, and I tell you what, it really does help you appreciate the cars, the tactics. I learned a lot from that, the tactics side of things, where when having to pit, when to take on fuel, how much fuel to take on, because obviously weight of fuel slows your car down. When to maneuver into position. It was really good, and they have put a lot of thought into these games. And I must admit, I said to Luigi, I'm going to look to buy, Formula 1 21, but it was like $64.99, and I couldn't really part with that money. And as Andy will say, you physically can't hold it, but the game itself, Formula 1 2020. Brilliant game, and I encourage anyone, especially now it's on the Game Pass, to download it and give it a go, because it's very tactical, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, because you could take the corner at the wrong time, the wrong speed, and you'll spin out. And some of the wet tracks or the wet days, blimey, I had to I hate to say this, but some of the laps, that 18 or 21 laps, every lap that I was able to complete, I was pressing pause, saving, and then going again, because there was so many times that I got to like the 18th lap, and there was 21 laps, or the 13th lap, or the 15th lap, and then I crashed, and I was in a massive lead, but I damaged my wing, my wheel came off, and it was like, brilliant. 13th place, massive lead, and I've damaged my wheel and I can't continue. It's like game over. So I encourage anyone to play that, but brilliant game.
Yeah.
I'm going to roll back to the boxing while we've been chatting. There is actually a new boxing game coming out. Unfortunately, it's not Fight Night, though.
Yes, I've seen this one.
Big Rumble Boxing pre-champions.
Oh, that Big Rumble. That just reminded me of something. Get Ready to Rumble Boxing. I had it on the Dreamcast. That was so cool.
That was a good
I played
game.
that for a bit.
Yeah, it had Afro Thunder in, and I'm pretty sure by memory that when the Dreamcast was like just first being released, I'm pretty sure it was like a game that came out with the Dreamcast. And I remember going into Toys R Us, and they had the Dreamcast set up in Toys R Us, and they had Ready to Rumble Boxing on it. And I remember queuing. I used to queue to get on that Dreamcast just to like play it for. I mean, they didn't really even have time limits, so you were kind of like, you could literally stand there for anything. Well, for as long as your parents would let you stand there until you could get a go, really. But it was, that was such a good game back on the Dreamcast.
It's going to be the same developers releasing this new game. That'd be awesome. They do pitch it as a knockout arcade experience. So if you're going down the lines of Ready to Rumble or even like Punch Out or something, it could be a good game. Or it could be a rip-off of using basically Creed Champions. It's taking you through the entire legacy of Rocky films and all the different boxes therein. So it could just be a cash cow, but it could be a very fun arcade experience.
It looks like a laugh.
It looks like a laugh.
That's not the game that I was thinking of. I didn't know that particular one was coming out.
It kind of looks a bit like. Well, no, it looks like it could be quite good fun actually. It looks unrealistic, but it looks kind of like the fun element could be there.
It's got that Tekken sort of vibe, hasn't it? Or,
yeah.
It really sort of Tekken vibe. And then from what I can see and reading, and some of the videos that are popping up, or images, sorry, they've got like a combo phase where I can only imagine, as you progress and you start getting these hits in, you'll get a power boost, and it's like you can do a special move, like Mortal Kombat.
I feel like
they're going to have fatalities in boxing. Finish it.
You take the head off and throw it at their body. Yeah, brilliant.
What Andy was talking about that game. I initially, when you first said about a boxing game, I've just sent through on Discord and game trailers. There's actually a game coming out called Esports Boxing Club, and it's like a hyper realistic boxing game, and it looks the closest thing to like a Fight Night game. So yeah, when you get a chance to have a look at that, there's some alpha footage. It's actually got Eddie Hall in the ring because.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one before.
Because he's a notorious boxer, isn't he? Honestly.
Yeah, Eddie Hall. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you look at that trailer, like I say, it does look very, very pretty. So it'll be one to look out for until we can get another Fight Night at least. Shall we sort of verge off onto some more sort of?
Can I chip up with one?
Go on,
because I think you're going to agree with me.
Go on.
NHL '94.
Yes.
Yeah, we were talking about this last night.
Yeah,
we were talking about this last night. I used to love that game, and now the modern day, the recent one they've got on the Game Pass, I think it's NHL 21. I can't stand it. I spent a couple of hours on it. Couldn't stand it. But yeah, 94, brilliant game.
For me, it was the one that was called, what I had on the Sega Mega Drive, it was literally just called EA Hockey. But yeah, it's the top down, 2D, basically like
the arcade feel, but it still had the teams, had the licenses, had the feel of it. But you didn't. The problem with sports sims nowadays, they can overcomplicate it, like the UFC game.
Yeah.
Overcomplicate it. A game should still be fun, and it should be accessible for the masses.
And
back in the day, they had that. They had the arcade feel, but they still had the elements of realism, career modes, things like that made it worthwhile playing.
Definitely.
I'm with you on that, Andy. It's the EA gaming. I go to go on to the NBA side of things. I played on the Game Pass, downloaded the NBA 2020 game, and I went for the tutorial, and it was so complex. It was so hard. These multitude of buttons you had to press a simultaneous sort of time to be able to do a layup and that. And I thought about this the other day. Last night. And I was thinking, right, what games did I enjoy? And I'm going to go towards the GameCube here. And for me, I really enjoyed. I think it was 06 NBA 06 when you had when it was on the GameCube, and that was a brilliant game. And I remember playing that, especially when I was at school. I was a captain for the basketball team, and I really enjoyed it. I was playing against sixth formers and that, and this really sort of gave me sort of the ideas of what technique, what moves I could try. Obviously, I'm not going to press B or A, to try and get the perfect shot, but just little techniques and that. And it's funny, today at work, I quickly looked at this and I was reminiscing from the videos and the graphics. They're good, but they're not as good as what they are now after playing 2020. But it was such a great game.
Did you ever play the original NBA Jam or NBA Jam Hang Time? Which is basically, if you like basketball, a combination of the old style hockey games with the basketball. Because it was 2-on-2 arcade feel. You do your layups, you set the hoop on fire. They were great basketball as well.
No, this was the original. Yeah.
I'm going to chip in with an NBA game in just a moment. But before I do that, for any listeners that want to contact ourselves here at Luigi's Gaming Lounge, there is an email address set up. So if you have any questions or just want to say hi, the email address is luigisgaminglounge@gmail.com. That's luigisgaminglounge@gmail.com. So hit us up, and we may read out your message. But,
and hit that subscribe, like, and if it's worthy, Luigi may send you some merchandise for free.
It's used pants through the mail.
Used holy boxers. That's what I'll do. No,
Maddie's just dropped by like 50% after that comment.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on from that. Yes, NBA. Now, for me, I've always loved the NBA games prior to the PlayStation 4, Xbox One era. My all-time favourite NBA game was NBA Street V3, which is the last NBA Street game. So it was obviously the third instalment.
V3?
Yeah, and NBA Street V3. Very much like FIFA Street. So basically, you're playing on the streets and you're making your way up through that. But there was a mode that I absolutely loved, which was slam dunk competition. So basically you'd be up against one other person, and it would be like almost like a nightclub theme, and you'd have to like do these crazy wacky tricks as you jump in the air towards the hoop. And again, whoever's got like the highest score wins, but again, there was some finesse to it, so you had to do things at the right time to do a certain move or whatever. But the slam dunk competitions in NBA Street V3, it was hours of entertainment for me.
I think I played this, and I rented it from Blockbuster. I'm sure I did.
Yeah, I mean the sort of street titles such as NBA Street, all of them, all three were brilliant, and I played all three. Also NFL Street, they were really good. I really enjoyed those as well. But yeah, I mean, it's just something different from the main games. But I think we should move on to some wacky sports games. More wackier.
I was just going to say, actually, sorry, just before we do that, Did you guys play the Rockstar table tennis game?
Yes, that was
I
brilliant.
did. That was great.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I think we
That was
actually
really
mentioned this in the last episode because that was all about Rockstar. But yeah, that was really good.
I feel like before we move on to the wacky ones, there's a couple of probably genres we haven't, or sport types we
Golf,
haven't touched on.
Tiger Woods golf was another genre that's been.
You've
it's
got
had
your
its
golf,
had its up
your
and down.
tennis, and your snowboarding.
Yes.
Yeah, Virtua Tennis
There's
on the
some
Sega
big-
Dreamcast, awesome.
You got Virtua Tennis, Mario Tennis, you got Top Spin. There's some big tennis titles,
Yeah.
and then the same as your snowboarding, 1080, Amped, SSX.
Cool
You
borders
got
on the
Pete
PS1.
Sampras. You got Pete
Oh,
Sampras
yes.
on the Mega Drive.
With the 2 additional controller inputs.
That's right. Yeah, the extra 2 controller ports on
I
the
think the
game.
Sampras
cartridge.
96 or that.
Yeah, for me it was
Yeah.
it was started off with cool borders for snowboarding on PS1, but then later on I really loved Snowboard Kids, which is more of your wacky, a bit like a bit like Mario Kart, but with
I loved
snowboarding.
Snowboard Kids. I like. Yeah, I got so much enjoyment out of that as a kid. Like
Yeah.
everything, like I mean, it was quite a clunky kind of game.
It
right?
was.
And it was. But as a kid, like the soundtrack was awesome. The
Yeah.
characters were cool, and even though it was clunky, it was just fun. Like I could just quite happily just play it, and you complete it, and then I could happily just play through it all again. Do you know what I mean? The replay value, although it wasn't a massive game, and there was only I don't think there was that many courses from memory, but it just felt like you could just repeatedly play it and not get bored. Now, whether that was because I was a kid, which it probably was. Maybe if I played it now, I'd be like, maybe not. But yeah, good memories of playing it anyway.
Yeah.
I going on wacky sports games for me. When you said that, a game immediately came into my mind, and it was I'm looking at it now, and it's Micro Maniacs. Used to love Micro Machines, but Micro Maniacs, you were just these little quirky. They sort of had like a Borderlands sort of feel to it, quirky characters. They're all different, but you just run around. Your miniatures sort of run around figures, and you're like on a set out course that some kids sort of made, like Micro Machines. But you're running around and you get these. You've got to jump over obstacles. Make sure you don't go in the fly trap or or the upper ramp. And a brilliant game, Micro Maniacs for me. They're just running around. You have to hit. I remember I had to hit that bloody X on the PlayStation so many times. I think I've got an imprint on my thumb for like a good hour from hitting the button, the ring. Yeah, the ring of the button. And I'm surprised it didn't go through the controller. Through so many controllers. But brilliant game, Micro Maniacs and Micro Machines for me. I thought they were brilliant games.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I am going to quickly bring up as well, because it's not really, I suppose you don't really think of it as a sport, but Big Bass Fishing PS1 and Action Bass. Did any of you guys play that?
That's a curveball there, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I didn't play them.
No? Did anybody?
No, me neither.
I used to see them in the shop and I remember seeing them as a kid in the shop and being like, yeah, that's one I'm definitely not buying.
I used to think fishing's boring enough in real life, yet alone doing it as a simulator at home.
No, you don't think it's boring.
After I'd already played fishing on Zelda Ocarina of Time, I knew there was no game that could ever compete with such enjoyment of fishing.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll swiftly move on from that then, shall we? That went down like a ton of bricks. But I mean, Barney, is there any wacky ones that throw your interest?
Not really, actually. As I said, I only occasionally play sports games, so I don't really play them intently enough to make them particularly memorable. I do have a few of the games that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Particularly Virtua Tennis 1 and 2 on the Dreamcast.
Oh, yeah.
They were brilliant.
I do like the Mario Kart. We mentioned Mario Kart briefly, but I kind of feel like driving games are their own genre, really. Even the sorts of sports-based ones like Formula 1, MotoGP, and so forth.
Okay.
I think they're kind of their own genre is quite separate from sports because there are just so many titles.
Yeah.
In the racing genre.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think if you were to put any in the category of sport, you would say Formula 1 would be the racing game in the sports sort of category. But yeah, like the rest of them are kind of more their own sort of thing, aren't they? They're not necessarily classed as sports games, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean,
So none really spring to mind, but
no, fair enough. I'm just something popped into my head.
Can I just mention Diddy Kong Racing, like Mario Kart been mentioned?
Oh, go on.
To me, Diddy Kong Racing, I love that on the N64.
Yeah, I love Diddy Kong Racing.
If we're going to verge onto racing, can I just say the game that I really liked as a child, and it's still progressing to this day, really, and they were the leaders, was Gran Turismo 1 and 2, and then the concept cars. The Gran Turismo for me, where you had on your memory card, your PlayStation memory card, all these cars that you had achieved or you bought. And I remember having a Subaru Impreza to this. God, what was that car? It was a Mitsubishi. It was like a rally car.
Evo.
No, it was a Gran
GTO, FTO.
Turismo. No, it was a Mitsubishi.
The Evos are the rally cars, the ones that used to rival the Super.
No, but this one was ridiculous. It wasn't the Evo. It's that's it. It was the Hyundai.
Hyundai.
No, it's a Mitsubishi. I'll get the screenshot and send it to you guys. But basically, it had this massive spoiler on the back, and as soon as I won that, I used it for tracks. It was meant to be a rally car, but I used it for tracks, everything. It was ridiculously fast. I'll get a proper picture, a good picture, and send it to you after this. But you'll see what I'm on about. But it was absolutely rapid, and I remember with my stepfather when we used to play. To get these achievements, so you get the gold, and then you get these big grand prizes like £2 million, for credits on Gran Turismo. Used to do a couple of laps, gain a bit of a lead when you're doing these sort of Le Mans races, and then I'd go into the pits, and then after that, it can self-drive and still continue the pace, and then you'd go to bed. And then you'd wake up and go, "Oh, that was easy." I did about 10 laps, and then put it in the pits and managed to come first.
Oh, right.
It's self-drive. You could be doing the Nürburgring or something like that, and it was brilliant. But you just put it in the pits after you get a bit of a lead, 10, 20 laps. Go into the pits to change the tyres, and then it would continuously sort of cycle around, do the drive for the 12 or 12-hour race that you've got going. And you get these sort of big grand prizes with these multiple cars or sort of concept cars, and brilliant game.
No, the Gran Turismo games are, you can't dispute that they've been brilliant over the years.
Did you guys ever see where they put out on the 2-disc special on Gran Turismo 2? You actually saw the guys. They were filming a lot of it in Japan. And they were getting all these cars that were donated to them that they managed to get the license with, and everyone remembers that we never had the opportunity to have Ferraris or Lamborghinis on there, or Maseratis, for example. But they would have these cars such as Nissans, your Mitsubishis, your Peugeots, whichever, these concept cars. And what they would do is put a microphone heard. Microphones around the wheels as if they were going around the tracks, what squeals they'll make, and the engines from the revs and the RPMs. And I thought that was brilliant. I remember that it was Gran Turismo 2, and they had a 2-disc special, and it was a DVD, and you see how much detail they went into, like the pinnacle of the gaming sort of industry of racing, how they went into so much detail to go, right, we're gonna manufacture this game, to sort of give everyone sort of that real entertainment sort of life feel of what it's like to drive or take control of these cars. I thought it was fantastic. I remember that as a kid watching it, just seeing this Japanese guy. He was a drifter. That's all I remember. I can't remember his name, but he was a Japanese drifter. And it was near an R32 that had been super done up, Nismo, the lot, sort of kit fitted, and it was just revving it, slight revs, and then he was doing it fast revs, it was controlled. Then he was doing drifting with it, and what it'd be like going around corner, and that was just an example. And it was brilliant. I need to find a snip of that and then share that with you guys, because they went into so much detail, and I think that's where you appreciate the games a lot more, where you see how much work time and effort that went into these games to where we are now to go, yeah, it's brilliant,
Yeah.
They've got catalogues of sounds, and they've kind of pioneered the way for future gaming.
No, it's good.
Was there any other in terms of sports games? Was there like baseball or anything like that? Did anyone play any of those?
Yeah,
I
played. It was called The Bigs. I don't know if anybody else played that.
No.
Yeah, it was really good baseball game. Only one I think I've played, but fantastic. What I did want to bring up actually before obviously the end of the episode is the one game which I really enjoyed was the Olympic 2012 game on the 360.
Oh, okay.
The Xbox 360. You could use it with Kinect, which some were okay.
You have to get connecting again, didn't you? You and your
Kinect.
Kinect.
I did.
I'm just waiting for the Stadia to be mentioned.
No, so for example, like the javelin throw, that was actually that worked very well with the Kinect or the Olympics.
How many TVs did you break?
None. But no, forget the Kinect, like everybody has done anyway. And
Apart from you.
Yeah, playing it with controller now.
Luigi still has dreams about it, man. He's like, "What are you doing in your sleep?" He's like, "I must just think I'm on the Kinect." When he's
listen. But honestly, right, and I'm telling you now, we talk about local multiplayer game. This was an epic local multiplayer game. Me and Maddie, my wife, obviously she's not a gamer, but she got involved and she loved this game. For example, something like when you're doing the javelin, the shot put. Was
it better than Mario and Sonic at the Olympics on the Wii?
Do you know what? It was. It really was, because let's say obviously you've got 4 of you playing and you're doing a 100-meter sprint, let's say, and you're having to so each of you have got a controller and you've got to mash, I don't know, like A and B. Do you know what I mean? Alternatively, and obviously the quicker you're doing it, the faster your runners running, and that is honestly an awesome multiplayer game.
You just saying about tapping no. Sorry to interject.
Yeah,
you've just reminded me of the nightmare fuel that is track and field.
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Where literally you had calluses or
that was ridiculous. That
brilliant game.
Yeah.
You start pulling your muscles in your neck. You go muscles that you didn't even know about. You go, oh my god, I'm stiff. Oh, why is that? You've been working hard. No, yeah, track and field, babe.
But yeah, no, I was going to say that again, for like a local multiplayer game, because the newer one is out, Tokyo 2020. So it's like here, I'm just reading a description of it. So you can play with friends, family, etc. So yeah, that again for a multiplayer game, brilliant. Really recommend. I haven't played Tokyo 2020, but I presume with how well 2012 was, it should be very good. And actually, I'm just looking at some images, and what the hell, Sonic is in it, in the official, and it's Olympic.
Good old Sega sliding in the DMs.
Yeah, Olympic Olympic Games Tokyo 2020, the official video game. We've got Sonic doing the 100-meter sprint. We've got him playing flipping rugby. We've got him playing ping pong.
Anyway, to boost their economy. Anyway, just to boost their economy.
Well,
characters.
Do you know what? I'm actually thinking about. I might pick this up, because like I said, 2012. I can't fault it. It was brilliant. So yeah, that's that for me again. That's a brilliant game, and it covers several sports.
Well, if you do get it, mate, you definitely have to do a little video, like a 3-minute video, and send it to us, or let us know your thoughts on the podcast.
Funny. You're funny.
You're funny. It's not funny.
But I presume it has online multiplayer, but something like that. You know, again, if that's something that does have online multiplayer, that would be quite a cool game to play, I think, with your friends.
I'd be up for purchasing that as long as we got online to play.
As long as we got online.
That's nice.
It's on the topic.
Yeah.
Sorry, going back to like track and field. This isn't me saying it's a great game by any stretch of the imagination, but did anyone play California games? Which is basically like it, but it was the American version. So you had surfing, you had hacky sack. It was all like the street sports. It was actually hacky sack where you had to keep up a beanbag. It was like proper American sports, but in the track and field sort of setup, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember.
No, never played it.
And when you're in the surf section, you could get like attacked by sharks and stuff.
For God's sake.
Yeah, no, I remember that. It was a very good game actually at the time. Probably horrendous now.
I enjoyed it. I don't think it's like well regarded or like it's going to go down in gaming history. But I enjoyed playing at the time as well.
Yeah, definitely. Right, I'm just checking. So yeah, no, for me that's I'm happy where I'm at with the games I've mentioned there. Unless anybody else has got anything they're absolutely wanting to.
One more. I'm just going to drop in really quick because we've mentioned obviously the driving, and we've mentioned football, but there's been no mention of Rocket League. And Rocket League, for what it is, it really filled that little niche. And I'm not a huge fan myself, but when I have played it, it's really enjoyable. Yeah. And I think they took a couple of completely different genres, merged them together, and actually made a really enjoyable, playable game. Yeah. That, judging by the millions of players they have, has been well received.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, there's no end of, they're not short of players, are they? I've only played it once or twice with my son, with G, but I can see the appeal, and especially if you're playing it with friends. I
can imagine it could be a laugh if all five of us went on that.
Yeah. I mean, how many is it per side?
I think it's 4 or 5 per side.
Let's have a look.
Perfect.
That would be cool. Let's have a look. Rocket.
I can, not quite like the A-team, but I can smell a plan coming together.
Let's have a look. Rocket League team sizes. Let's see what it comes up with.
I definitely think we need to sort of make it our mission to find a game that would serve us all, that we can play and enjoy. Just something silly, something not too serious, but a little
online co-op 2 to 8, online multiplayer 2 to 8. No. There's 2 to 8 players, whether that's per team or across 2 teams, I'm not sure.
Right, I've got here maximum is 4 players. Oh,
I've completed it anyway.
But yeah, no, we'll have to have a look into that. But no, I think we've covered quite a lot of ground really with the with sports games. I mean, there's so many. Like until you actually start discussing them, there is actually quite a lot.
There's loads that we've probably missed.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh, yeah.
There's guys. Yeah. Any of you guys listening?
I feel like we need to give Barney 5 minutes because I haven't heard a lot from him this evening.
Yeah.
On the back for him.
Yeah, well...
I don't play sports games, sorry. I must have lost this episode.
I'll have to make sure the next topic is something up your street, Barney.
I'm sure we cater to everyone here at Luigi's Gaming Lounge.
Of course we do.
Yeah, well, Barney, I'm sure that you'd be interested in any volleyball games.
Only if they're homoerotic Top Gun-esque volleyball games.
Yeah, homoerotic. Dead or Alive beach volleyball. Yeah. Check it out.
Jiggly.
What about netball games? Any of those?
Never. Do you know what? I've never seen a netball game actually.
No, because they're all school kids.
In the UK.
They're all school kids.
Well, in Japan then.
On that note, I think we'll wind this up. But I
would like to say something.
Wind it up or wind it down.
Well, wind it down.
Wind up, you're right.
Obviously, this podcast, this session that you set up, and obviously I've been absent on quite a few due to work commitments. But I think it really helps, people with their mental health. Like, for example, I just want to share my appreciation and also the feedback with you and for the viewers and everyone else in the gaming lounge at the moment. Just to say, for me, it's nice when I'm sort of stuck wanting to listen to something instead of music or Mythbusters in the background when I'm splicing or doing my day's work. It's just nice and refreshing that I can go, right, if I've missed out on an episode like episode 10 I was talking about the other day to you briefly, it's just nice to go, oh, what have I missed out, but also still be involved, even though I'm not involved at the current time when you've done this podcast, and I can laugh with certain comments you guys have made, or you've said something, I'll go, I'm intrigued, I don't know what this game is or what this forum is or what this platform is, and I'll go away and do a bit of research, and it is very insightful. But moving on with that as well, and this is again, I'm really grateful that you've set this up, not only just to get yourself out there and for everyone else who's got a passion for gaming, but it's more the case of educating others and for the next generation. Like G, brilliant, Noah, very enthusiastic children, they know what they like, but they're entertaining as well, and G really comes out of his comfort zone when he's playing a game online. He's such a different man. He's a great guy, good little man. But I just want to touch on now with what you said to me the other day, which most people are probably aware of, that you're talking about getting merchandise out there. And it's not the case of trying to profit from this. It's more the case of trying to spread the word. But I think the merchandise you were telling me, like little bottle openers, T-shirts and that, I think they're brilliant, mate. And I'd be definitely someone like myself, not only because you're a friend to support you, but I'd be more than inclined to sort of purchase a top or bottle opener. Because for one, I don't have a bottle opener at home. It's just a wine, a cork opener. So, but again, I just want to touch on that. Just to talk about what merchandise you're looking to sort of bring to the table to sort of get the name out there, but also to get those viewers that listen day in, day out, or new viewers, to sort of be part of the family of Luigi's Gaming Lounge, to go, even though you're not, in the session, feel free to support, or you can be part of the team. But it'd be nice to hear from your viewers if they want to jump in on a special episode like episode 18, episode 20. We've got a special guest, one of our viewers or listeners. It'd be great to get them on the session and get their opinion, their views from an outsider, and really get to know them. That's the art of the gaming community and networking. So yeah, it'd be good to talk about your merchandise and getting sort of your viewers on a session sometime.
Maybe. Not just yet. We're still too fresh, I think. Still
well,
too fresh.
All I can say is, if it wasn't for this, I wouldn't have known Barnaby. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to meet Sam. And I tell you what, Sam, your picture does you no justice. You're a great-looking guy. For anyone who's listening to this now, really handsome guy. You need to hit him up.
Across the guy and meet him that you don't want to bum, Tony, because you're watching the England game last night.
I tell you what, you were definitely on my list. I was saying to the missus as I was driving home, I was like, Andy's looking really fit. I was like, he's a really attractive man. I was like, and she's getting really worried about me that I'm going to turn gay. And there's nothing wrong being gay, but, as long as it doesn't hurt.
There's something wrong to your wife. Like, I'm sure she's not a fan.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but I keep telling her I'm going to leave her for a man. But, when that day comes in a year's time, she has a go at me. I'll be like, well, I've been saying it every day.
You warned her.
I have. Look, you even said that to her yesterday evening. So, yeah.
Well. No, just quickly, just touch, the mental health side of things that you was talking about. Obviously, as most people are aware, it's something that's very close to home for me, and I'm sure several other people. So yeah, no, it's done wonders for me as well, for my mental health. So yeah, and even sometimes, listening when I'm at home on my own, listening even to other podcasts, just for that sort of background noise whilst I'm doing chores and stuff. It's it's good. So anybody that does that is currently listening and suffers with mental health, hopefully this is helping you out a little bit. But
and for those who do, just reach out to people. Even email in, comment in if you want to chat. We're here. That's what this community is all about.
Exactly. And on that note, perfect time for me to reiterate that should you want to get in touch with ourselves here at Luigi's Gaming Lounge, you can contact us at this email address, luigisgaminglounge@gmail.com. That's luigisgaminglounge@gmail.com. That's been episode.
If there's any male listeners want some sort of rating, you can send to Commando Power.
Yes, but no, that's been episode 15. Thank you very much for being here with us, and thank you to these guys, my friends, for being here as well. What more can I say, guys? We will see you in episode 16, and thank you very much.
Right, let's hit the showers,
guys.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.
Thank you.
See you later.